Hi, let me ask you something. When you hear the word diversity, what comes to your mind? So, if you're like most people who probably think about race, gender, ethnicity, maybe sexual orientation, you picture a room full of people who look different from each other. And that's great. We've made real progress there. Companies have diversity officers, universities have inclusion programs. We celebrate cultural festivals and Pride months. But here's what's strange. In our rush to celebrate every kind of visible diversity, we've somehow created spaces where everyone thinks exactly the same way. Let me tell you what I mean. Imagine you're in a meeting at a progressive workplace. The room is beautifully diverse, people from different countries, different backgrounds, different identities. Someone brings up an idea that challenges the group's assumption. Maybe they question a policy everyone else supports. Maybe they suggest a different approach to a problem. What happens next? Silence, discomfort, maybe someone says, that sounds like something they would say. And you know exactly who they are. The person who spoke about doesn't get engaged with. They get labeled. And slowly, quietly, they learn to keep their mouth shut. Now, here's the uncomfortable part. This happens in progressive spaces that claim to value tolerance above everything else. A New York Times columnist actually confessed to this in 2016. He wrote, "We progressives believe in diversity, but we routinely demand ideological conformity." Think about that. We've become so good at celebrating diversity in everything we see that we've forgotten about the diversity we can't see. Diversity of thought. And the research backed this up. Studies show that demographic diversity doesn't automatically create cognitive diversity. You can have a room full of people from different backgrounds who all think identically about every issue. The research is clear. It's the difference in perspective that leads us to better decisions, not just differences in appearances. But wait, before you think I'm about to bash progressive politics for the next few minutes, let me be clear. This isn't just about left-wing problem. Conservatives do this too. Right-wing groups shut down dissent just as quickly. The difference is that progressive spaces often claim to be champions of tolerance, so the irony cuts deeper. There's actually a name for this. Philosopher Karl Popper called it the paradox of tolerance. The idea is that if you tolerate everything, including intolerance, you'll eventually destroy tolerance itself. So we have to draw lines, right? But here's where it gets tricky. We've started drawing lines around opinions instead of actions. We've started treating people who think differently not as people to engage with, but as threats to be eliminated from our spaces. Let me give you a real example. In India, where I'm speaking from, we celebrate our incredible diversity. We have dozens of languages, multiple religions, every ethnicity you can imagine. But try being a moderate conservative in an elite academic circle in Delhi or Bombay. Try expressing right-wing economic views at a liberal arts college. You'll be labeled as regressive, intolerant, maybe even dangerous. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you think. And the reverse happens too. Try being openly liberal in certain right-wing spaces. Studies using brain imaging shows why this happens. When we encounter opinions that challenge our worldview, our brain literally responds as if we are under threat. We lose empathy. We stop seeing the person as a person and start seeing them as an enemy. And this is destroying our relationships. Research from the United States show that political differences are now a leading cause of broken friendships. People are cutting off family members, ending decades-long friendships, all because of who someone voted for. Think about that. We are willing to lose people we love because they checked a different box on a ballot. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what if their views are actually harmful? What if they support policies that hurt people? Fair question. And here's my answer. There's a huge difference between someone who actively promotes hate and someone who just sees the world differently than you. There's a difference between actions and opinions. There's a difference between I disagree with you and I'm going to silence you. The problem is we've collapsed all those distinctions. We treat everyone who disagrees as an existential threat. And when everyone is a threat, tolerance becomes impossible. Here's what really gets me. We are doing this in the name of protecting people. We say we are being tolerant of intolerance. We say we're just holding people accountable. We say we are creating safe spaces. But safe from what? Safe from ideas we don't like? Safe from having our worldview challenged? Because let me tell you, that's not safety. That's fragility, and it's making us weaker, not stronger. The research on this is actually fascinating. Studies show that exposure to diverse viewpoints, even ones we find uncomfortable, makes us better thinkers. It forces us to defend our positions. It reveals blind spots. It makes our arguments stronger. But we've been avoiding it. We are curating our social media feeds to show us only opinions we already agree with. We're choosing friends based on their political views. We are creating echo chambers and calling them communities. And here's the real scary part. Both sides are doing this. Progressive and conservatives are living in separate realities, and the gap keeps widening. So, what do we do? First, we have to get honest about what diversity actually means. It's not just about representation, though that matters. It's about genuinely making space for different ways of seeing the world, even especially ways that make us uncomfortable. Second, we need to stop treating disagreement as a moral failing. Someone can disagree with you and still be a good person. Really, I promise. Third, we have to remember that people are more than their political opinions. That friend who votes differently than you, they're still the person who helped you move, who made you laugh. So don't throw that away over a policy debate. Look, I'm not saying tolerance is easy. I'm not saying we should tolerate actual bigotry or violence. I'm saying we need to draw better lines between this person is different from me and this person is dangerous. Because right now, we're treating difference as danger. And that's not making us safer, it's making us smaller. Real diversity, the kind that actually changes things, require real discomfort. It requires sitting across from someone whose worldview challenges yours and listening anyway. Not to change them, not to win, but just to understand. That's hard. It's so much easier to surround yourself with people who already agree with you, who already see the world the way you do, who confirm everything you already believe. But that's not diversity, that's uniformity in a prettier package. So here's my challenge to you. This week, have a real conversation with someone who thinks differently than you. Not an argument, not a debate where you're just waiting for your turn to talk. A real conversation where you actually try to understand where they're coming from. It might be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me sometimes. You might still agree at the end, but I promise you'll come away with something more valuable. A reminder that people on the other side of the political divide aren't monsters. They're just people who see things differently. And maybe that's the diversity we need most right now. Not diversity in what we look like, but diversity in how we think. Not uniformity disguised as progress, but real, messy, uncomfortable conversations. Because diversity in everything except thought isn't diversity at all.